So part of how the pharmaceutical industry suppresses cures is by targeting people like me. My targeting started when I was diagnosed with MS. Actually, you could say that my targeting started when I was given MS through childhood vaccines. But anyway, so I basically figured out the disease, and one of the ways to reverse it, as soon as I was diagnosed, and I asked questions, and they didn't like that, and so they set me up with the naturopathic CIA handler guy, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, people have no idea how the system is set up, how corrupt everything is, how every single person is targeted. Some of us more so than others, of course, because if you're smart enough to figure out diseases and that this whole society is a sham, then, the Truman Show wakes up and comes after you. Because it is the Truman Show, which is why that movie was created, to let us know that, yeah, it's the Truman Show. People really don't understand the extent to which the targeting occurs and the depths in society in which everything is infiltrated. They really don't understand. So I wonder how many people have been diagnosed with diseases, figured out the cure, were considered a threat, and were prevented from becoming healthy, and were probably killed, and then the pharmaceutical industry just blamed it on, like, oh, well, they had whatever disease. Oh, it's a fatal disease, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm afraid with me, I'm in the process of permanently curing my MS, but I'm afraid with me, if something goes wrong, they're going to be like, oh, well, she died of MS. And most people would just accept it and be like, oh. And they'll probably say some shit like, oh, she tried that natural stuff and it's quackery and, it's dangerous because she didn't take the pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals don't do shit. Here's another point I wanted to make. When you're targeted, you're not really allowed to have any money. They wouldn't give me disability. So I actually first asked my naturopath. I was like, should I apply for disability? And he was like, oh, no, you won't need that. I didn't know at the time he was some fucking CIA glow fag. And, I didn't apply because I was like, oh, it won't take me that long to get better and I'll be fine and I'll work and I'll blah, blah, blah. It didn't work out that way. And then when I went to apply for disability a little while later, they told me they did not receive a form that I had actually sent to them. I'm sure someone there fucked around and made sure that form was not received. And then they wanted to give me disability for anxiety. And then when I went, and which doesn't make sense, it doesn't even make sense. And then I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll go along with this. And I went in to be screened, and the psychologist was screening me for depression. Mind you, I'm trained as a psychotherapist, so I was like, this bitch is screening me for depression. They want to say that I'm depressed because there are some people who are so depressed to the point that they're psychotic. I actually had a patient like that once. And so, yeah, I screwed her assessment. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to let you mark me as some psycho. No offense to anyone who actually is psychotic, because they can be cured too. But no, the medical system doesn't cure anybody. It's really sad that the MDs are in charge of the medical system. They're the least trained, the least knowledgeable, the stupidest kind of doctor, the medical doctor, otherwise known as the allopathic doctor, in charge of the medical system. Yes, there are some exceptions. There are some holistic MDs. There are some MDs who are trying to do their best to help people. The frontline doctors are speaking out. But for the most part, most medical doctors don't know what they're doing, and it should not be the doctors in charge of the medical system. I actually see the medical doctors as lab assistants. I don't really see them as real doctors. They just perform tests and, they try to diagnose. Most of the time, they can't even get that right. And they're not curing anybody. And they're not teaching anyone how to prevent diseases. They're just matching test results to drugs. They match symptoms to drugs. It's all about symptom suppression. They're not really curing anything. They don't prevent disease. They don't really know how the human body works. It's ridiculous. The entire conventional medical system is so ridiculous, and people have such a hard time breaking out of that mind control, because that programming, when it comes to the allopathic medical system, is so strong. It's so strong. People have such a hard time breaking out of it. I understand. I had to break out of it myself, although I think maybe it wasn't as difficult for me as it is for most people, because, I have a different kind of background and I was able to see what was going on, more quickly than the average person might. And maybe that sounds arrogant, but whatever. That's just how it is. That's what happened. So I feel bad for all these people who are suffering and dying. They don't need to be. But anyway, I'm just kind of rambling. Because I had a lot of different things in my mind. I was thinking about how the targeted, no one speaks out about the targeted individual program. There was a TI who commented on one of my videos and said there's no accountability and no responsibility, and that's absolutely true. There's no accountability, there's no responsibility, no one helps us, nobody does anything to help us. And I think there were some other points I wanted to make, but I made a video earlier today about how there should be a convention for TIs. Yeah, that convention is gonna have to be free for us. It's gonna have to all be paid for. I don't know if there is some kind of plan when this comes down to, somehow pay back the TIs somehow. It's kind of insulting to me though, because I mean, even if I don't even know if we're ever gonna even be acknowledged. I don't know what's gonna happen, but let's say we are acknowledged, and let's say we are given some sort of compensation. Let's say we are given some money or something like that. It's insulting to me because it doesn't make up for all of the time that I've lost and all that I've gone through. It's honestly insulting to me. It's like, let me just take that money and shove it down everyone's fucking throats who fucked my life. For the record, I have no intention of hurting anyone, including myself. I'm just describing how I feel. That's how it makes me feel. I'm not a violent person. I'm just saying that's how it makes me feel. It's insulting to go through all this shit, to have your life taken away from you, and then to be like, oh yeah, here's some money, that'll make it all better. But yeah, that convention's gonna have to be paid for. You're gonna have to fly us all in for free, assuming it ever even happens. And everything's, hotel's gonna have to be paid for, and food and everything. Who knows who knows what's gonna happen. I just wrote to my sheriff again, and I said, no one takes any responsibility. There's no accountability. Nobody helps us. People are paid to harass, torture, and murder innocent people. And no one does anything about it. I said, I have not received equal protection under the law, nor have I received equal justice. And I call the governor's office, as I do very often. But not that he cares. Governor Baker of Massachusetts, he doesn't give a fuck. He sucks firm a cock all day, every day. Massachusetts isn't even a state at this point. I don't really consider Massachusetts a state at this point. I think Massachusetts is just a pharmaceutical company at this point. I was looking at the list of all these liberal cities that have defunded the police, and Boston has not. And I really think part of the reason is because we have the universities, and we have the hospitals, and we have all these pharmaceutical companies. And, they want to make sure that everything is protected so they can keep their fucking sham going. Their fucking fake medical system, their experimentation, their eugenics, their satanic ritual abuse. God. Of all the places in America, of all the places in the world I could have grown up, it's here. Fucking Boston. These people. The most programmed part of the country. These people are ridiculous. You tell them the cures and they run the other way. They're like, oh no, don't talk about the cures. Don't give out information about cures. Yeah, all right, keep going back to your MD. Yeah, good luck with that. Clueless people. It's supposed to be the state with the highest IQ and the most educated state. Yeah, I mean, I'm an overeducated masshole too, but I'm not programmed like these people. I don't know I don't even know how this program started in Massachusetts. I don't know. I mean, the programming is different for every state and every area, every region. The programming is different everywhere. And I don't know, it's just bad here. It's just bad here. Boston was it's part of the revolution. Boston was, remember the Boston Tea Party? And now they just go along with whatever they're told. They do whatever the hell they're told. Nobody speaks up here. No one does anything. It's I'm the only one, so yeah, target me. And if anyone really is awake here, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if anyone else is speaking out. Maybe there are a few. I don't know. But I heard that the Massachusetts government, there were officials in Massachusetts government who were calling Twitter and telling them who to kick off of Twitter. Oh, I'm sure I was one of those people. Because I was kicked off a few months ago when I was posting about the vaccines and how Massachusetts is really programmed and how people in Massachusetts won't wake up. And 60% of them got the vaccine. Oh God, why did you put me in Massachusetts? All right, that's all for now.